At pre-show shenanigans, my older brother is making the debut between, well, I guess my dad's included in this also, but
He's making the generational debut.
No person in my immediate family has set foot in the great state of Ohio since 1977, when my father graduated from high school in Dayton, and he never, ever returned from the state of Ohio the Monday after graduation. He spent his last Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the great city of Dayton, Ohio, and that was it. Then it was so long. I'm off to bigger and brighter. But no one in my immediate family has set foot in the state of Ohio in 47 years. I think, if my math's correct, 47 years, until my brother took a business trip out to Ohio. Ironically, that's how we end up in Ohio, a business trip. But my brother's in Cleveland right now. Right now, the Cleveland Browns. They have a preseason game this week. I haven't checked this, but considering the story, this would have to make sense because there's no other explanation why these people would be in Cleveland. But we're just going to assume that the Houston Texans play the Cleveland Browns this weekend for the preseason. That's why they're in Cleveland. And at my brother's hotel, my brother's about to get into the elevator. Just walk through the lobby, trying to go up to his room. Waiting for the elevator, and he's wearing an Ohio State sweatshirt. He's in the great state of Ohio. If there was any place on earth where it would be very accepted to wear it, it would be Cleveland.
It has to be.
And, Nick's getting head nods, getting many OHs as he's going through the airport quickly in like an hour being in Cleveland. And while he's waiting to go up the elevator with his Ohio State sweatshirt on, he'd hear someone scream, "Go Blue," from behind him. And my brother, being my brother, immediately turns around with a look on his face where he was ready to, it was ready to fight. Ready to throw hands. On site, exactly. And when he turns around, he noticed a 6'4", pretty large man screaming "Go Blue," and looked a little bit closer and noticed that it was Nico Collins who screamed out "Go Blue" to him. And behind Nico Collins were some other pretty notable wide receivers. This guy, Tank Dell, this guy, Stephon Diggs. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him. And then this other guy, this one is the least cool one, objectively speaking, but for my brother being a USC Matt Barkley diehard truther, Robert Woods was also there. And that was very cool for my older brother specifically. But after Nico Collins said "Go Blue," which I want to quickly shout out Nico Collins for going into enemy territory, going into Cleveland, and just anytime he sees an Ohio State, he just willingly on instinct just screams out "Go Blue." That's
some pride.
Wow. Tip the cap. Nico Collins has a lot of confidence in himself. He's feeling himself right now.
If I was Nico Collins, I would too, to be fair. But
yeah, very fair. I just, that Cleveland, Ohio is not a place where I would, if I was ever in the state of Michigan, you would not see me throwing up OHs everywhere I went. You would not see me doing that personally. You wouldn't. I'll be honest.
Fake fan.
No, I think more just a smart human. I'm not trying to get killed out in public. Let's avoid confrontation when necessary. But quickly after Nico Collins screamed out "Go Blue," my brother went up, said "What's up" to them, and very quick, a couple of major takeaways here. First things first, I expected my brother to have a bad opinion on Nico Collins being the Michigan man. But my brother said Nico Collins was the most talkative out of all four, without question. He was speaking the most, being the most friendly, the most homey out of all of them. And then after that, Robert Woods was a fan of my brother bringing up Matt Barkley, USC, with him and Marquise Lee absolutely running the show in that era. But at the end, Nico Collins knew my brother was a big Ohio State fan, obviously, and told him he will let CJ know there's a big Ohio State fan in the hotel. And he told him, hang out around here after like dinner around like 8:30. Just hang out here for 30 minutes. CJ will probably walk by around that time or something like that. Now, we are releasing this on Thursday. So if we were releasing it today, go to blank hotel at 8:30 p.m. if you want to meet CJ Stroud. But that was yesterday. But if my brother did in fact meet CJ Stroud and everything, pictures right here.
But
and now it's gone forever. And now you'll never see the picture again.
But so. I'm just saying, they can if they rewind a little bit. Sorry, but
I don't know what wizardry you're talking about. It's gone forever.
It's not go to blank hotel to see CJ Stroud. It's go to blank hotel to meet Grant's brother. Like that's the more important
good
thing.
point.
That's the more important thing. But
much more important point there. Yeah, if you want to meet my brother, I mean, CJ's
blank
cool.
hotel.
Nico Collins, the rest of the Texans, that's one thing. My brother. When do you have an opportunity? You have 17 opportunities to see the Texans next year. Commercially, there are tickets available to go see them. You can go do it. My brother, there's no Ticketmaster link for that.
Could you imagine? Ticketmaster to your house?
Yeah. We essentially, we just have a link where if you go on any of those ticket apps, you have the categories like sports, comedians, musicians, yada yada, and then at the very end it's just water boys. It's just us three, just us four. Me, you, my older brother got in there, and then unnamed intern. There's slots available. Selling out fast. Go now. 10% off, discount code in bio. Check it out. Use my referral link for 10% off your first purchase. But my brother randomly going to Cleveland, Ohio State land, and then running into one of the most Ohio State teams in the NFL right now with CJ. Literally, crazy. That's all it needed. Now I know, I was also just looking at their roster. They got a couple of Buckeyes on there. Okuda just joined the team. Noah Brown's there. Stover's there.
They're a big Ten team, though. They got a lot of Big Ten guys.
Now, I was just looking through their roster in terms of me and you as Vikings, Ohio State, little USC in there. The amount of people or players on the Texans with some relation to us was astonishing.
It was
the amount of USC, Viking, Ohio State players on there. I was like, literally one in every 7 names has some relation. We have a very favorable opinion on it, like a 10th of the team.
Some affiliation, but look, the thing about, Stephon Diggs, Maryland, Juice Scruggs, Penn State, CJ, Ohio State, Nico Collins, Michigan, Jeff.
Yeah, Okuda, for Vikings, Danielle Hunter's there. Stephon, of course, where I was just like, oh my God, Stephon Diggs alone. I was just thinking, if that was me and I met Stephon Diggs, I could give 15 minutes of content to Stephon Diggs on you. Nothing to do with me. I have no opinion on you. If anything, I'd sign if anything, I was kind of rooting for the Saints in that one. I'm kind of pissed off about that catch, but I could speak to him for 15 minutes on you as a fan.
You could probably spend 10 of that alone with me and Madden with him.
No, yeah. I was literally thinking, I bet Stephon Diggs probably doesn't have the most favorable opinion of Minnesota right now, which I don't know reasons, but I would guess there's some with management. But I would say, if I saw him, I'd just tell him, just know, Stephon, the people in Minnesota will always have your back. I'd say some shit like that.
No, literally, his problems were with former management, so I don't really know now, but yeah.
I don't think he ever had a problem with the fans. I can't name a single, are there any Vikings fans out there who are anti-Stephon Diggs now that he's left?
People are anti-drama, at the end of his, tenure, but outside of that, no.
Objectively speak, the Minneapolis Miracle overrides anything you could possibly have against him, right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
That trumps everything. Look, before we get into the episode, just one last thing. One, Tank Dell is very short. 2.
Oh, that was the other takeaway. So my brother's 5'9" on a great day. Okay, 5'9" on a great day. And my brother was like, Tank Dell's shorter than me. And I did a couple of searches online, check his height and stuff. I tried to find like pro day combine measurements. I couldn't really find any, but he's listed as 5'10" on the Houston Texans website. Now he's also confidently listed as 165 pounds on the Houston Texans website, which has not been updated in a year. So I don't know what he actually weighs now. But I do think it's safe to assume that he is 5'10" in cleats and helmet on.
Yeah, probably 165
and helmet on
with cleats and helmet and pads.
With pads. But this is what I will say though. Like, despite a small frame, he still cooks guys, and sure, there could be durability concerns, but like in a way, those really small guys are like very difficult to defend compared to what you're used to in the NFL.
Yeah, look
right
at
now
Darren Sproles.
Like when you have a guy like that's 5'7", 5'8", like shifty, can sneak through holes and make little tiny movements. And like honestly, I'm thinking of the duck broken tackle, where somebody's coming high and you just kind of duck a little bit, and you're so small that you will not be a target anymore very quickly if you was duck. Like I'm literally thinking of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire run from LSU right now.
Yeah,
but
no, rest in peace,
he's so
Tariq
small,
Cohen
like
on that one.
Yes, no, like a Tariq Cohen, where like by being that small, like I kind of think of Kyron Williams in a way, where it's like
Sherrick.
Yes, Jets actually way better. But now I know I'm bringing up running backs, but I do feel like that body type isn't necessarily like watch out game day performance wise. Ooh, we don't like this. It's a lot, sure, durability concerns, but like if healthy and available, like I have zero problems with his size considering how good he is as a wide receiver.
100%. I 100% agree. I mean, I'm a Tank Dell truther.
If anything, it could be really helpful.
Like I fully know. I fully get it. I might not have
it. They have a nice variety of like wide receiver body types too. Nico Collins, 6'4", big body. Stephon Diggs, I feel like, is kind of
6'2".
typical.
I think he's 6'2"-ish.
Yeah, but just your prototypical like agile, fast, not like necessarily big, but just like the definition of a modern NFL receiver. Like that body type, 6'1", 6'2", 190, 200. And then you have Tank Dell, very small. Noah Brown, I looked up, he's listed as 225 on the Houston Tech. 225. What? Holy shit, Noah. Oh,
bro's getting it. He's getting in the gym.
It's big. But yeah, no, I think they have a nice variety of body types in that wide receiver room for CJ, which I think is going to be very nice. There's many different route combos they could run with those guys. So
yeah, last thing that I was going to say is for anybody who's watching the episode, I don't know how my mic sounds either, but if there's any issues with either my video or my microphone, I don't have anything in my new place to sit on. So I'm currently standing to record this. So don't say we never committed to this. I'm just saying I'm going to be standing here for the next hour. So I just want to state that.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, thoughts out to your knees for this time. Wow, I'm on your side right now. I am on your side. But without further ado, we'll get this episode underway for the sake of your ACLs. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the WR Boy Podcast. It is episode 246. And Jim Harbaugh has officially been suspended by the NCAA. I've got some information on that to go over. In terms of other news in the sports world right now, though, like some Olympic stuff going on to a slight degree. Pretty much, though, NFL preseason week 1 is officially underway this weekend. It's football season is essentially just here already.
Now, Grant, what is it? I don't believe there's a single week without football for how long? I think the next 8 months, Grant. I think there's no 8 months.
There is a football game.
There's a game for the next 8 months. Because you go into the XFL after the NFL.
Wait, carry the one. Yeah, 8, rough estimate. That sounds about right.
Sounds about right to me.
Till April next year.
Ish. I'm not trying to do that math right now, but yeah, ish.
Yeah, we'll take that. But yeah, no, like I can confirm that there will be a football game on Thursday, every single Thursday for the rest of 2024. That I can confirm. Can confirm that. But it is just football season in general, cooking up right now. Many things coming out, reports, both NFL and college. But for the sake of this, because I got some college football stuff. Let's focus a little more on NFL today.
Okay.
Let's talk
Grant,
a little more.
I got something to start. I got something to start for you. All right. This is related to your team. All right. And I don't know. I'm assuming
Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm assuming you saw this, but I'm not entirely sure. There have been reports that Derwin James is being used in offensive packages. So I wanted to know what you thought about that, because to me that is, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna use him in. Like, what, I don't know what position he possibly would play, but
yeah. So
can you imagine if they put him at left guard for the lineup?
Yeah, first instant reaction on just him. There potentially may be some sets with him playing offense. So just start with that piece of information. First things first. Oh my God, Quentin Johnston, you are so bad at football. Oh my God. Wow. Holy. I've seen a lot of bad picks in my day as a Chargers fan. Don't get me wrong. But for that QJ pick, oh my God, considering what was directly afterwards, and then directly afterwards, the afterwards, Zay Flowers and Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison. No, I'll truly never get over that.
How you could be so bad that a safety is currently taking up your reps? I don't understand.
And Derwin is not the Derwin James that he once was.
He doesn't have hands, Grant. He doesn't have hands.
Well, for the Chargers, he does. Compared to the room, he does.
Compared to the NFL,
he doesn't. Compared to the NFL, he doesn't.
That's my point. But
for us, he does. But yeah, no, when I saw that one hurt. Also considering Derwin's injury history, don't like the sound of that. Just on top of that.
You're just gonna get hit by Kirby Joseph one time, who hurts himself in the process, but then Derwin James is dead.
Yeah, and then also I'm gonna talk a little bit about coaching staffs here. Kind of moving forward, next part of this, but brand new defensive staff for Derwin. Last 3 years, he unfortunately has had to deal with Brandon Staley's quote master plan defense. I'll never forget when Mike McDaniel said that before week 1, started laughing when a reporter asked him about the Brandon Staley masterclass defense. So funny. But unfortunately, Derwin has what Derwin once was. He has regressed since Staley took over. At some point, it's going to take a while for him to forget the awful traits that Staley instilled in him. It's going to take some time. And with that in mind, we're going to have to retrain Derwin how to play football, because for the last 3 years, he's been told the wrong things to do. We need to change everything he knows about the sport of football. With Jesse Minter coming in and just an entire new defensive staff. So many reasons why it's a bad idea. So many reasons why it's an awful idea. And if anything, it just confirms that, the Chargers are looking at Quentin Johnston as a sunk cost. At least I'm proud of that. At least I'm proud that the organization has given up on that. We're not going to waste our time here. We know what he is. I'm happy they're doing that. At least that's one step in the right direction.
Well, do you think the Vikings end up trading for him the same way they traded for Jalen Reagor?
I mean, if you're willing to give up a 7th, yeah, why not? But no, I don't know. No.
I honestly do think
any team in the NFL stupid enough to pick him up other than Carolina.
I honestly do think though that if the Vikings for whatever reason traded for him, they'd immediately convert him to tight end because that's what they do.
Yeah, that would be very funny too. And he would just like be a good special teamer if he did that. I guarantee he would.
Gunner.
I guarantee he would be. I was gonna say could maybe get in 12 personnel. Hell no, he couldn't. But Chargers coach talk. I want to talk about. Real quick. This is a name that I hope maybe you can give me some more insight on because I don't know much.
Okay.
But Chargers, defense, a majority of the assistants all came from Michigan. There's only a handful of guys that weren't from Michigan on the defense side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, though, not much from Michigan necessarily brought over. Greg Roman was hired as OC, the Harbaugh brother, packed with the Ravens. And a lot of these hires are either former Chargers assistants still there or like Greg Roman's guys. I'm not entirely sure. Gonna have to read up on it more. But one specific coordinator that really concerns me for this next season is the passing game coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, Everett. The Los Angeles Chargers passing game coordinator beginning next season will be Marcus Brady, who was the former offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. He was fired mid-year in 2022 on November 1st. I was trying to read up a little more on Marcus Brady, but hopefully you can help me out here. But correct me if I'm wrong, but he is not proven that he's a great offensive mind in the NFL, correct?
Yeah, not from what I've heard. And also, can't remember exactly, but I do feel like that would be around the time that the Colts blew the 30-point lead to the Vikings.
There is a chance that he was fired from hours after that game.
Let's see. Colts 2022.
November 1st, 2022.
Let's see.
November November 1st, 2022.
So they played their game in December of 2022. The November game, that's when they let go of I don't know, maybe it was Frank Reich, and they like fired everybody, and whatever the offensive line guy came in to be the head coach.
Oh yeah, Holiday. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Oh.
Something around there. But I mean, yeah, so if he got fired, he would have been fired directly after their loss to the Commanders. They scored 16 points. So
yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, but Marcus Brady's the passing game coordinator. That's not very inspiring to me.
So I mean, here's the thing. Like, let's look at his last gig like that for passing, right? Just looking here, starting week 1, 20-point tie versus the Texans. Okay, scored 0 points
with the Colts.
Yes, with the Colts. They scored 0 points versus the Jaguars. 20 points versus the Chiefs.
Was that Wentz and Phillip Rivers? Colts. Who were his 2 quarterbacks? Wentz and Matt Ryan. Yeah,
Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan would have been his quarterback.
Okay, gets a little teeny excuse in his here, but he had a Jonathan Taylor, so
yeah. So 0 points week 2, 20 points week 3, 17 week 4, 12 week 5, and he had 34 week 6 and 10 week 7. So
I just heard 34. I like that.
34 was on the Jags though, and that was after they scored 0 their first matchup. So split it in half. We'll count it 17 for each game.
They're 19, but yes, 17. I like that number better.
34. How would you?
I thought you said 38.
No, I said 34.
Whoops. But yeah, no, I'm not too inspired with Marcus Brady. Well, hopefully it works out. But also another thing I was looking at, kind of looking at these wide receiver coaches. The Chargers wide receiver coach is a British guy named Sanjay Lal. Now, I've never heard of this guy, not going to lie. He apparently has
good record,
very high recognition among NFL coaches. He's been a wide receiver coach since 2009.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, clearly
Hey,
knows a thing
that's
or
a pretty
two.
good tenure. That's a pretty good tenure to me, at least. So
One thing that really bothers me though is that his last tenure was the Seattle Seahawks passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. Now, hey, DK
was
Metcalf
this last
has
year?
been excellent. Past 2 years, he has been passing game
Okay.
coordinator and wide receiver coach. Now, DK has DK's very good.
I feel like your problem here stems from
Other face
JSN.
Tyler Lockett is a very good wide receiver. But last year, Sanjay Lal refused to throw a ball to JSN 3 or more yards past the line of scrimmage until week 8.
Well, he wasn't the offensive coordinator, to be fair.
Passing game coordinator, wide receivers. Okay, sure. Fair, that is fair. But I would have hoped that my passing game coordinator and wide receiver coach before week 8 could have, made it known to the OC, hey, did you watch his film at the best routes he runs are like 30-yard crossing routes down the field, right? You know that, right? The reason why he's so good is because
well, hey, you know what?
running downfield, right?
You know why they brought him in? You know why they brought him in? Because the only balls that Quentin Johnston might be able to catch are 3-yard in balls that you just dink and dive for.
Very true. And I was going through some memories the other day, and the one Chargers preseason game I went to last year against the Rams, QJ had, I low-key think he scored a touchdown in that game, but pretend that didn't happen. First play of the game, QJ screen off coverage, not pressed. He has green grass to cut up field. He catches the ball, takes like a dummy backwards set, just a waste of a step, gives the DBs time to recover, and it's a 1-yard loss on a screen.
I kind of remember what you're talking about. To be honest,
I have it on. It's on my Twitter. It's on there.
Hey,
I rewatched the clip, and I'm sitting there. I was just like,
damn it, dude.
I see the brand new Ohio State freshman receiver Jeremiah Smith. He knows not to take wasted steps on screen. You need to get upfield the second you get that ball. So I mean, hey, there's just some guys who aren't as good as others. That's what we've learned. But yeah, no, Chargers. I'm going to take a tighter look at these offensive coaches. I assume most of these defensive guys are safe for a year, but these offensive guys, I could see names getting thrown under.
I mean, Greg Roman is notorious. Like that would be the most concern that I have. Like, yes, Greg Roman notoriously is a horrible passing coordinator. Well, passing offensive coordinator. So I don't think it matters who your passing game coordinator is or anything like that. If Greg Roman,
because his opinion doesn't.
If Greg Roman's calling the plays, it doesn't matter because your offensive, your passing game is going to be either way. And like for me, my problem for you is unless Greg Roman has a Ed Donatel style, just heaping pile of shit season, I think he's around for another year either way. Like I don't think that you're gonna get rid of him, which is realistically what I also think
he has a baked-in excuse. Justin Herbert not in training camp. He's not even with the offense. He has a built-in excuse to start slow,
or he's gonna be like, hey, you know what? I don't have good wide receivers. Like they're not up to speed yet. Like we don't have our guy in the building.
No,
like,
and honestly, I bet that he can say, because we don't have wide receivers, we're facing 8-9 man stack boxes, and that's why we can't run. And Harbaugh will be like, that makes
adds up. Yes. Yeah.
Now, in a way, yeah, it does add up. Makes sense. But my bigger point is if we did have those wide receivers, Greg Roman wouldn't throw still.
You think Greg Roman's going to set up the run with play action passes? No, I don't think
I'm just saying Greg Roman has so many built-in excuses to fail and still stay on staff that, yeah, he's 100% here next year.
And I think because he's there, like they might fire one or two other guys as a scapegoat, but I honestly do think
that's what I'm thinking.
There's a very high chance that
I think this offensive staff needs to improve.
Unless Sharon Moore gets fired from Michigan, the entire offensive staff remains the same.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I will
suspended
say, though,
for Michigan.
The other thing I will say about like Harbaugh though is that like, it seems that he knew who was coming with from Michigan defense side of the ball. Like I guarantee everybody he asked went.
Like, sure.
But I'm not sure if he was as like I'm literally talking for like the past 4 years that Harbaugh has been flirting with the NFL. He's probably had his defensive staff in mind, like DC, linebacker, D line, outside line, corner, say like he probably had that in mind, but I'm not sure if he had the offense fully planned out. And we'll see. But
I just
Herbert
don't know if
Greg Roman.
I don't know if Greg Roman would have been my guy for OC.
No. Yeah, I think it was like oh shit, I am going to the Chargers now. We are done with Michigan with this scale. Like I am like this timeline's getting sped up. I'm going right now, and fuck, I don't have an offensive staff in mind.
He was like, what is the oldest guy that's still available in the NFL who, plays old school football? Oh, Greg Roman.
Genuinely, Greg Roman was the easiest hire, like the least effort hire. He was his former OC. I'm pretty sure he was with Harbaugh at Stanford too. So they have history. He's a John Harbaugh ex guy. So in terms of the Harbaugh trading coaches, he fits that criteria too. And he's also unemployed and nobody wants him. So it's quite literally, you send him a text. There's no words. You just send him a contract and he'll sign that, forward over to you within the hour.
Like, I mean, if it was me, I would have probably gone with one of the more younger guys because those are the guys that have been on it. But
that's that.
Like, you would think,
there's one guarantee we know in the NFL, it's a young offensive-minded guy.
Here's the thing: if you're gonna go with a young defensive-minded guy and Jesse Minter, you might as well go with a young offensive-minded guy on offense too, and just build it up that way. I don't know what thing went through his mind for Greg Roman, but I mean, clearly his favoritism.
Yeah, last thing I'll say about the Chargers while you just bring up Minter, like a concern that I've had with this cheating stuff going on, which we'll get into, is like Minter, like before Michigan, he only had 1 year as a defensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator for Vanderbilt. Now, it is Vanderbilt, so I expected him to rank last in every single SEC defensive category that year. And also the Vandy offense was so bad that year that the defense was probably in short field scenarios all year. So I'm not giving shit to Vanderbilt, but I'm saying that year did not tell us anything how good of a DC Jesse Minter was. He's with the worst talent, out-talented every single week, getting destroyed. You can't really evaluate.
So you're telling me to have the same mindset with the Chargers this year because they're so bad?
Kind of. Maybe I walk myself over there right now, but I have no idea if Jesse Minter has legitimately called a defense ever. I don't know. There is a chance that he has known a majority of the time what the offensive play call is. And at that point, you're not coaching football anymore. You're kind of just following a checklist. If in this, run this, like you're now just following a formula. It's not coaching anymore.
You're concerned that because of the whole cheating scandal, Jesse Minter's ability to actually coach at an NFL level,
I have no idea. As a defensive coordinator calling defenses, as a coach, I have zero doubt. To this day, he was the DB coach in Baltimore. Marlon Humphrey is on record to this day being like, Coach Minter taught me too much about defense. I love that man. Owe everything to him. Like, nothing but excellent things, like DB wise, position coach, technique, whatever. All great reviews. I have no issues with him as a defensive mind coach, teaching his players how to do so. My concern is him, defensive coordinator, calling a defense. I have no idea. There is a chance that the only year where he's done that was at Vanderbilt, which is not.
Well, you also, it's like a gray area there too. Like, you're not going to have a good idea how good of a play caller he is from there. So reality, yeah. So, I mean, you'll find out on Saturday, I guess, really how good of a DC he is.
And it's not even like he was dealt the greatest defense ever right now for his debut as an NFL DC. So
are you telling me Diane Henley is not a true lockdown linebacker?
No, I think he's focusing on his Twitch streaming career right now.
With Kyler, is Kyler there too?
Is Kyler still doing it?
I have no idea.
I have no idea if he's still doing
it.
There's another NFL guy who's starting to do it, and he's honestly really funny. I gotta remember, a relatively random guy. I gotta look it up. But no, yeah, Chargers. I'm interested about the coaches this year. I've had, I've had the fan perspective looking at the bright side for the past 5-6 months, but now that it's about to be the season, Herbert's injured, Bosa's hurt, Slater's hurt, Vital's hurt.
Yeah, you guys kept Khalil Mack for whatever reason.
He's ironically, he's not injury prone, at least.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying if everybody else,
I know he's going to get hurt this year. I know he is.
I don't know why you keep Khalil Mack when you're not really getting anything out of him. The rest of the team's not built around him to really use him properly. So,
I literally think what it is, it's to boost Jesse Minter and Harbaugh's confidence. We could still pass rush a little with guys.
We got somebody.
No, Khalil Mack won't be on this team next year. I genuinely think he's here, so Harbaugh and Minter can feel good about themselves when they get a sack. When he gets a half sack every 3 weeks, they'll feel good about themselves.
Never forget
and then 1 week against the Raiders, he'll drop 7. But yeah,
I will never forget though when prime Khalil Mack Raiders, the moment that it was Khalil Mack been traded to the Bears, we were all sitting there
okay, just making sure that first year in Chicago
was disgusting.
Week 1, Chicago versus Green Bay. You were rooting for Chicago, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At that point in time, yes. I was like, hey, well, that was also the year that I had Mitch and I had Mitchell in our Madden league. So I was like,
never say Mitchell again.
The year before, I think I had him. So I was like, let's go. But
only time you're allowed to say the word Mitchell is if you're referring to the brand Mitchell and Ness moving forward. That is it.
Wow. But I just, that first week, I remember he was so fucking dominant. It was crazy. That whole first year, literally turnaround. That was the first year that they had.
That first year in Chicago was nuts.
It was the first year that they had, what the fuck was his name? Matt Nagy. And Mitch turned it around, and Khalil was doing dirty things.
Was that 16? No, later.
No. That was 18. Post miracle.
It was 18.
It was 18.
Yeah. Yeah, that was such a strange year of football. Wow.
That was double doink year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. Well, I'm just looking before Chicago hired Nagy. Their very first interview was with, at the time, Vikings DC George Edwards. Their second interview was with, at the time, Vikings OC Pat Shurmur. So Chicago was coming directly for you.
Well, to be fair, that was off of the miracle year going into. We had arguably the best. We didn't win the Super Bowl, so I can't say the best team, but arguably the best team in the NFL that year, given the circumstances of things. So I don't blame them. I think Pat Shurmur went to the Giants that season anyways and kind of shit the bed there. George Edwards never got a head coaching gig. I don't even know what team he's on now. But no, I don't blame any of that. Literally the only 2 good head coaches that have come from Minnesota staff that are in my mind right now, Kevin Stefanski and Mike Tomlin. Outside of those 2 guys, I can't think of a dude who was not already a head coach on the Vikings who was a good head coach for another team. Who was just a staff member on the Vikings who then went to become a head coach for a team.
Oh, okay. All right. I'd say, while something just kind of crossed my mind, thinking just kind of more NFL in general, I feel like this is the time of the year where there are a healthy amount of teams that are kind of assumed to win the division. We don't need to really think about it. I feel like last year, A team that was kind of assumed to win the division, they just didn't, was the Jags with the AFC South.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is a team that's doesn't have to be the overwhelming favorite, but one of the favorites that we do not think will have as good of a season as expected?
I think the Eagles are up there. So I literally this morning went through the teams because now I can, now that I'm not with football anymore, I can actually, look at those odds and stuff. So I was looking through everything. And for me, going on this, first of all, just saying this, since 2004, there has not been a repeat champion of the NFC
Beast.
Bats.
So Cowboys, Beast. Cross them off. They're not winning.
Not winning. Since 2004. And the last time it happened was the Eagles, and they three-peated. So 2002, 3, and 4. But right now, the Eagles are the favorites to win that. I mean, listen, Giants are not winning it. And I really doubt the Commanders are coming through to win it. So that's the thing. I would say
if there was a year for the Commanders to just, first year post all the changes, holy shit, I'm already blanking. Worst owner of all time. God damn it. What's his name?
Riverboat?
Dan Snyder. First year post Snyder. This is a new franchise. Era. This is a new team now with the ownership. So I guess in theory, from that angle, sure, but roster-wise, no, the Commanders are not.
I mean, yeah, no, they're not in that point. So that comes down to, okay, where are the Eagles at, and can the Cowboys repeat?
And Dan Quinn's their head coach. No, they aren't. Hell no.
Well, Dan Quinn, I mean, he was literally just on the Cowboys. So if any team were to give it to the Cowboys, it would then be Dan Quinn. He knows that team inside.
From that angle, yeah, I can't forget 28-3.
Fair, very fair, very fair. But I can't. I'm just saying. I think that you go down to the Cowboys and the Eagles are favored. The Cowboys can't win back to back, but the Eagles also are.
And also, this is the last year with this Cowboys core all under contract.
So we'll see. I mean, maybe
will be made after this year in Dallas.
If the Eagles, I think, the Eagles are definitely not.
I'm gonna start prepping that Dallas offseason wish list right now. We need to make sure that shit's pristine.
But the Eagles are not as good as last season, and I think they're probably gonna take a step back even with Saquon Barkley. So the question is, they lost Jason Kelce. The question is Dallas going to break history right now, last 20 years of precedent, and win back-to-back? Or are the Eagles going to win even though their team is worse than last year? That's my question. That's my question there. So
I'd lean more on Eagles off of the history record.
Now,
nothing to do with the teams. Purely off of the history.
I'm going to go. That's the way that I'm leaning to. Now, the other set of teams, odd-wise, that I looked at, the favorite for the AFC East is the Jets right now, plus 125. Second is the Bills. Third is the Dolphins at plus 200. I would say out of all three of those teams, I would expect the Dolphins to win the division. I do not like the Bills this year to win the division. I don't even know if they're going to come in second place, to be honest. They might still have an above 500 record, but I don't know if they're coming in second in AFC.
One thing I will say, I'm about to say something nice.
It's all contingent on Aaron Rodgers' Achilles not having imploded, but
I'm about to say something nice about the Dolphins. So Everett, if I'm being too nice, slap me through the monitor.
The problem is I'm also a Dolphins stan, so
I think this is me as a Tua fan. I've been a big Tua fan since he was at Alabama. I'll never forget when he came in at halftime, took over for Jalen Hurts. Won the SEC championship game, or at that time won the Natty for Alabama, throwing it to Smitty in the corner for the walk-off touchdown in OT. I'll never forget it. And because of that, I will always be a Tua fan for the rest of my life. Not a Dolphins fan, Tua fan. I think Tua getting his new contract, for many quarterbacks, I'm slightly concerned that motivation may not be there anymore. You just got your bag. That's what has been motivating you for your whole rookie contract. Now you got it.
And
how does your motivation change moving forward?
Yeah, look at Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I mean, we look at Danny Dimes, but from everything I've heard about Tua and his family, how he was raised, I'm talking Elite 11 high school stories of how he was raised to play football. I do not see Tua losing focus. If anything, I see him looking at this contract, although he probably didn't deserve to get the contract that he got. I think Tua would look at it as, this is disrespectful to me. I'm undervalued, and I think this, if anything, the contract might inspire him.
You think that he's going to take the contract? And
I don't think we have seen the best Tua Tagovailoa that we'll see in the NFL. I think he will. Yes, I think that he is a rare type of just human where he is not satisfied. Like he is a competitor, and that's what I'll say nice about them. That's it. You won't hear anything else from me.
Perfect clip right there. Thank you.
That's it, though.
I do think Tua glazing from a Chargers fan is crazy. Kind of did some Dr. Seuss stuff there. But yeah, so I mean, like I like. I do like Tua.
I'll be honest. I can't hate on Tua.
I do like the Dolphins fans who I do like the Dolphins. I was Dolphin positive last year too at this time, so call me biased. But I was also Jets positive last year at this point in time. But I do think I don't trust Aaron Rodgers' health. I don't trust the Bills' offense, and their defense was castrated essentially by Von Miller. So the last team is the Dolphins, and the Dolphins offensively are arguably the #1 team in the NFL. And defensively, I know that they have 2 ACL guys, but they'll hopefully be back at some time late in the season. And they just got a guy to replace those 2 guys in the draft. So my hope is that, with these teams being stagnated offensively, at least a little bit, the defense for the Dolphins not being as good is not going to be a problem. The offense being disgusting is going to be the thing that matters the most. And because of that, they're going to win that division. So that's kind of one of the bigger upsets I was looking at. Outside of that, like thinking of the NFC West, the 49ers are going to win that barring an injury. I will say I do surprisingly like the Cardinals to finish second in that division. I do like that a lot.
Over Rams?
Over the Rams.
Wow. Huh.
I don't know why.
Reason why?
Marv
vibes?
Being there.
Is it vibes?
Vibes.
Because that's a way better answer than if you were going to give me a reason.
You telling me the bus?
The bus, Marv, vibes.
The bus riders of the week. Yeah, I'm telling you. But like also
NCAA is out, so Kyler's loving gaming. So
but I do like, if you want a legitimate reason for somebody like watching and listening to this for the Cardinals to be one of the better teams this year, I think their win margin is like 6.5.
Like this year, I like defense enough.
I don't know if they improved the defense enough, but I think the offense is gonna do more for them than what is needed from the defense this year. When Kyler came back, Trey McBride became one of the top tight ends in the league. The efficiency of the offense completely changed underneath him to become not one of the top offenses in the league, but one of the better offenses in the league. So now when you take that and you par them with Marvin Harrison Jr., with now you have James Conner.
They had another receiver. Please tell me they did. They had to. They have
Greg Dortch. They traded Rondale Moore. I can't remember what they traded Rondale
and they traded Hollywood.
They did. But you have Marv, right? Like you of all people.
No, I know.
But Greg Dortch and Marv. And
I'm just saying, I'm concerned for Marvin that he is going to be double teamed out the gate. Nothing to do with him fear-wise. It's just there's no one else.
I wouldn't be as concerned about that because you got to guard Trey McBride. Okay, don't disrespect.
That's harder to double the tight end inside, though. You can.
And two, that's a little harder. Greg Dortch's efficiencies and metrics are actually pretty good. So it's the same kind of rate that it's not. I think Tank Dell is better than him, but he's kind of the same build setup as Tank Dell.
Yeah, shout out Arizona. They don't lie about Greg Dortch's height. They just say he's 5'7" on the team page. So shout out Arizona.
But also you got James Conner, who's one of the most undervalued, underrated running backs in the NFL. Trey Benson is there now. Their offensive line is retooled. Kyler's back completely healthy. Like I think that the offense is ready up, is revving to go, and I think that they're going to do a lot of things offensively that's surprising people that people don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm just taking a gander through the defense. It could be a rough season on the defensive end, but
no, defense is not good by any means. Did they draft a corner this year? I'm trying to remember. They had 2 first-round picks, didn't they?
Okay, they have 2 rookie corners, Max Melton, Elijah Jones. Do either of it? Jaden Davis, do those sound like first-round picks?
I'm about to check. Hold on.
I don't think those are first-round picks.
I'm gonna check. They could have traded out
Xavier Thomas, that was round 3. Clemson, yeah. Oh, Miles Murphy, round 1. They took Miles Murphy.
That's who it was. Yeah, so they took They took Darius Robinson from Missouri, the edge rusher, at 27. Max Melton from Rutgers at 43 in round 2. Trey Benson round 3. Isaiah Adams from Illinois. Tip Raymond from Illinois. Elijah Jones, the rest of the guys don't. So no corner until round 2 technically, but after that, not until round 3. So they do have guys. They do have those 2 rookie guys. They did put pretty high assets into them. And they did retool him with the defensive line. I mean, Darius Robinson, I don't really know how good he's going to be. That kind of sounds like a bust to me. But yeah, I mean, they
purely off of his name, I can tell you his NFL career. 87 career tackles, lifetime gunner.
Darius Robinson, plus the fact he's from Missouri, plus the fact that he's an edge rusher at pick 27. Yeah, no, that's a career journeyman, rotation guy.
Yeah, I'd say
I like the Cardinals a lot. This year.
I would say if there's one team where I'm not necessarily expecting like greatness out of them, but would I be shocked if they played very well? No, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. I'm expecting them to look good this year.
I do too. That's why I think I was sitting here. I'm like, all right, I'm making my picks for division champions, and I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, what about Texans or Colts? Jaguars are off my list for that division. I think the highest they finished is second, and I do think that there's a good chance they could finish second, and then the difference between the Texans and the Colts ends up in third. So, and I don't think it's that big of a difference, though. That's my point. I mean, you have to like the Texans after last season. Anthony Richardson still is hurt. He's coming off an injury.
They add Diggs and they add Danielle Hunter. Yeah, of course.
The strongest thing that the Colts have going for them is not Anthony Richardson. It is Shane Steichen. And it's seeing what Shane Steichen can do this season. So, I mean, if he keeps the play calling up, Jonathan Taylor, is the best running back in the league and stays that way. The sky is the limit. I don't know if they win the division. I think they at least make the playoffs. So, assuming Anthony Richardson's healthy.
All right. Any more NFL stuff, or are we gonna wrap up real quick with some updated?
Yeah, let's wrap up real quick.
Yeah, we'll make it quick. First things first. Jim Harbaugh. This is Chargers Grant coming out real quick. Jim Harbaugh is kind of on a Pete Carroll path right now of dipping and avoiding NCAA suspensions or anything by going to the NFL. Jim Harbaugh was suspended. If he returns to college, he has a 365-day suspension. So he will need to wait 365 days before he can begin his tenure. Also important to note that 365 days means everything. You cannot contact anybody on your football team, anyone associated with it, for 365 days. Okay. So they essentially death penaltied Harbaugh for a year. Is
it only for 1 year starting from now, or is it 1 year from whenever he would get hired?
If he ever comes back to college football.
So it means like
that 365-day suspension starts that day.
Yeah, so it's not death penaltying him for a year. It's death penaltying him forever. Because if you go back to college football and you go back and coach and you can't do anything for a year, talk to anybody,
no one will hire you.
No one will hire you. So he cannot go back to college football.
Yeah, which I think he's essentially fine. Just no. That was the equivalent of like deleting your ex-girlfriend's phone number. That he doesn't care at all. Harbaugh could not care.
Zero.
Less.
Yeah, does not matter.
But from just that angle of Pete Carroll, Chargers fan, he's gonna get off completely scot-free. Michigan's going to get screwed over a little bit because Harbaugh will not take any of the blame, and he'll just let the program fall on the sword. He will not take any blame. But that also confirms that we are winning the Super Bowl in year 2 and losing the Super Bowl in year 3 off of a last-second interception on the goal line when we should have ran the ball.
Hey, this sounds like a win-win for you. Michigan gets screwed. Your head coach physically cannot leave your team
for chilling in the
school.
NFL. The NFL won't do a
thing. And by historical statements, last time this happened, they won the Super Bowl. So
I get 2 Super Bowl appearances, and one of them I get to win. So sign me up. Sign me up. I'll take that. But obviously, this isn't Pete Carroll 2.0. It's not the same team he took over, or not the same scenario that Pete Carroll was walking into than what Harbaugh's walking into now, going up against Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, don't
Mahomes.
Don't disregard Bo Nix like that, Greg.
I'm not sure if stealing signs can defend Patrick Mahomes, all I gotta say. But
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't. It does not matter because shit.
To this day, the greatest pass that ever was Patrick Mahomes' diving side pass that should have been
in the loss to the Bucs, correct?
Yes, that should have been caught.
He was honestly Superman in that game. His O-line couldn't block for shit. His receivers are dropping shit. But him as a player, that was maybe one of the most impressive Super Bowl performances I've ever seen in my life. But
no, literally, he should have been Jerry West getting the MVP for losing.
Yes. No, he should have pulled a Malcolm Smith, Seahawks Super Bowl MVP, when that should have gone to Cam Chancellor. But now I'm going to compare Harbaugh to another instance, suspension, if you will. Jim Tressel, former Ohio State coach, which I brought up last episode. Jim Tressel was my first head coach at Ohio State, and he was fired. He resigned. He was fired from Ohio State the day after reports came out that Ohio State players got tattoos in exchange for Ohio State memorabilia.
Yeah.
And the whole point is
definitely very, very, very taboo, very illegal things going on there.
Jim Tressel, the reason he was fired, it wasn't necessarily the tattoos. It was he lied to the NCAA, said he didn't have knowledge that it happened when he was notified that his players did that. So because of that, the second the Ohio State Board of Trustees found out, they fired him. Now, shortly after he got fired, Jim Tressel, keep in mind, he was coming off a Sugar Bowl win, a Rose Bowl win, a pretty good tenure at Ohio State as a head football coach. He 100% was still qualified to be a head football coach or football coach in general. But afterwards, he decided to take an assistant quality control analyst. I don't know the term, but not an official position coach, an assistant staffing role with the Colts. Now, what I'm learning is that the NFL decided to suspend Jim Tressel only because when this news came out, the 5 players were suspended for the season at Ohio State. And when that came out, Terrell Pryor, this was also after the draft. Terrell Pryor was now deemed ineligible for his senior year. He came back when he could have gone to the draft. Deemed ineligible. And so because of that, he immediately put himself in the supplemental NFL draft. That's how he got drafted to the Raiders. When he did that supplemental stuff, Michigan and ESPN people were bitching and complaining that Terrell Pryor's trying to avoid NCAA suspensions. And so he was suspended by the NFL for 6 games. After Terrell Pryor got suspended, Terrell Pryor was suspended his first 6 games in the NFL. After that came out, Michigan and ESPN fans started complaining that, well, if you're gonna suspend the player, you should suspend the coach too. So Jim Tressel was then suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season, and he was fired after that year because of the controversy. Essentially, Jim Tressel was never allowed to coach in football again
because of tattoos.
Or lying over tattoos. That's why. Will Roger Goodell even consider punishing Harbaugh No. And if
Nah.
anyone has listened to the most recent Pardon My Take Harbaugh interview, Harbaugh's agent is telling him, Jim, you cannot piss off the NFL like you did to the NCAA. Anytime someone brings up the league to you, you only have positive things to say. You will not be on Roger Goodell's bad side. That is not going to happen. Play by the rules, be nice. And so I think Harbaugh's number one priority right now is do not piss the NFL off.
Yeah. No supporting Colin Kaepernick for him, I guess.
If the NCAA wasn't after Harbaugh, I don't know if he would have left. Maybe he did love the NFL that much. Hopefully, as a Chargers fan, I hope that is true, but I don't know.
I mean, I highly the way that era of the NFL for Roger Goodell and suspensions, though, was so problematic for so many different reasons. By the way, they went about, because remember, that same era was the Ray Rice suspension, which I would consider much more significant than taboo tattoos, right? The Adrian Peterson issue. You had Josh Gordon's
I don't know.
issue.
Tattoos are pretty bad. I mean, he let his players recklessly engage in capitalism and exchange their goods for certain. That was disgusting.
Yeah, they're selling themselves.
He let that happen.
Josh Gordon, they had Josh Gordon
buy stuff.
They had all those different things. And out of all that, I still think that the 6-game suspension for Tressel and for Terrell Pryor probably was longer than any suspension that Ray Rice got, any suspension that I think it was the same amount of time for Adrian Peterson. Tom Brady was probably about the same amount of time. Josh Gordon was probably they fucking hated Josh Gordon. He probably got suspended for a
Josh
year.
Gordon got it bad. Yeah, I'll be honest. He got it bad.
he got shafted a little bit.
Only thing worse than exchanging your practice jerseys for tattoos, smoking weed. That's how we roll, baby.
Very bad for you. Very, very bad for you, clearly. I mean, I highly, highly doubt, even if, actually, no, if this was back then, Harbaugh would have already been suspended for buying a hamburger. But, my expectation is Michigan is about to get absolutely cooked, especially not just because of this, there's some stuff with Harbaugh going on, but they reported earlier, it could be a 2-time offense.
Well, it will be.
It will be, but that allows the NCAA to go and put in way harsher sanctions.
Yeah.
So
they can get them on that. They can get them on lack of cooperation, even though actually that might only be pinned to Stallions, and he's never working.
I would be curious, though, if Blake Corum truly was ineligible this last year, that's
then
something
you have to vacate. You have to vacate.
That's something that I'm curious about, though, if the NFL does suspend him for some time.
No, they won't.
You don't think they care that much like that?
No.
That anymore.
They no. That they don't care about. The only way I could see the Terrell Pryor example. Terrell Pryor only entered the NFL draft because he was suspended in college. That's the only reason why. And the NFL knew that. And so then they suspended him because he only went to skate by his suspension. So that is a different circumstance.
He pulled a Wiseman from Memphis to the Warriors. That's what it sounds like.
No, yeah. What I'm getting at is the logic for suspending Terrell Pryor and Jim Tressel, it's a little bit different. I get it, but my bigger problem is that the media has had it out for Ohio State since the existence of college football. I can only sit and imagine what would be happening right now if Ryan Day did this, Everett. Everett. Ryan Day's public opinion is already not very great. If it got found out that he was cheating, sign stealing against Michigan, he would actually be ran out of football. He would never coach again.
I will add,
Michigan
fans want to talk about Ryan Day being born on third base. Jerome Moore was born on the way to home base. So, I mean, he was stealing home base, if you get what I'm saying. So, you can't really have that argument much more from that standpoint too, if you're a Michigan fan.
No, and the thing is, dude, that was such a great quote. Ryan Day's born on so many great storylines coming out of that, and now it's
Yeah, Sharon Moore stole third base.
Sounds like the boy who cried wolf when we look at it back over. But the repeat offender is what's interesting. I expect this verdict to be ruled about 17 years from now. So 2041, we'll find out.
I like that's somewhat serious and somewhat of a joke, but
I expect a year to 2 years, probably.
I was gonna say I think there might be some expedited stuff, and I think we might hear something like early in the season.
I would expect at minimum it'll be a year from now before an official thing comes out. If I were to guess, I don't know though.
I don't know about that. And there's been so much.
There's a chance that there may only be 2 people working on this case at the NCAA. We have no idea.
No, that's true. I just, the
there may only be one guy working on this.
The news for all this Michigan stuff though has been so expedited that that's my expectation, and there might be something.
Yeah, no. From that, yes, yeah, and also Harbaugh dipping all this stuff. Harbaugh's now publicly saying, I did not do anything, like kind of calling out the NCAA. That might inspire them to work a little harder.
A little bit. Yeah, unless you have anything else, wrap up here.
That's all I got.
So with that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at WaterboyPod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at EverTakes and at WaterboyGrant. We post new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We also post on TikTok and Instagram, so check us out there for exclusive content. We now have a live streaming series that is going on YouTube and on TikTok, so check out the previous streams on YouTube and catch us for new streams on either of those 2 platforms. With that, I'm going to go sit down because my knees fucking hurt, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Waterboys out.